Hi guys, my name is Bunsuke. Welcome to my channel. So I've been studying Japanese for about 17 years now, and I wanted to create this channel to share my experiences and talk a little bit about what has worked for me over the years, what hasn't worked for me. Basically just talk about best practices. I'm not here to tell you what to do, I'm just simply here to share what I've learned in the past 17 years, and hopefully that will help you out in your daily studies as well. So because I'm doing a PhD in Japanese literature, of course, I have a special interest in reading. I also love kanji. I love the history of the characters. I love writing them. There doesn't seem to be any end to them, but I love them. So you can expect a lot of content on these topics. So another reason I wanted to create this channel is because I noticed that if you're a beginner, there are loads of options, right? There are apps, there are websites, there are textbooks, but when you advance to, let's say, intermediate or upper intermediate or even advanced, actually you're pretty much on your own. There are no options for people who want to learn more, who maybe have finished Minna no Nihongo or Genki and don't really know where to go from here. So if you recognize this problem, this channel is for you. I want to talk about reading strategies, learning strategies for people who are slightly more advanced, but of course everybody's welcome to watch. I know that it's already a challenge just learning, let's say, 300 kanji, but the systems that most textbooks use to learn 300 kanji are very different from the strategies that are much more useful when you're learning 2,000, 3,000 kanji and beyond. And I want to talk about these strategies on this channel. I also want to talk about reading. So I noticed in my own students and a lot of people who I've now met online that reading a Japanese novel is one of the big ultimate goals. However, it can be very daunting and very challenging to just pull a book from the bookshelf, opening it and reading as if it's nothing, because it is very difficult, of course. But I want to talk about the reading strategies that you can use to make it easier, maybe do some book recommendations as well, and make it more accessible. It seems so daunting and so scary in the beginning, but actually I'm here to show you that it's very, very doable if you use the right approach. I also want to say here that I'm a big fan of learning through immersion, and I feel that I should qualify a little bit what I mean by that. So when I talk about immersion, I simply refer to a focused and consistent engagement with native language materials, both in terms of input and output. So for me, immersion doesn't mean that you have to be doing Japanese every waking moment, that you have to be immersed 24/7, or else you're not doing it right. But I simply mean that for the time that you've carved out for your studies, let's say it's 15 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day or maybe even an hour a day, that you do away with all distractions like your phone, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and that you really give it your all for the time that you've allowed for your studies. I also think it's important that you dive into these native materials before you feel completely ready. So I've heard people who are part of the immersion learning community say that if you want to, let's say, read a novel in Japanese, you first have to become completely fluent before you even touch the novel, because otherwise you'll ruin some kind of perfect first experience with that novel. And I think this is complete nonsense. First off, you acquire new vocabulary, you learn new kanji by exposing yourself to a broad range of writings from different periods and in different writing styles. So I think it's actually the other way around. You don't first become fluent and then read novels. You become more fluent by reading novels and rereading novels. And that brings me to my second point, which is that when you reread these great works of literature, you'll discover something new every single time. That's not because the text has changed or that the words have changed, but that's because you as a learner and as a person have progressed and grown. So rather than trying to have some kind of perfect experience of the novel by becoming fluent first and holding off reading, for me it's much more useful and effective to just jump in, really engage with these native materials, and then just grow over time. Because it's only through this kind of deep engagement with text and not rushing it, but really just give it time to soak it all in and just really absorb everything that you're reading, that you'll develop some kind of intuition for text and reading. You know, it might suck in the beginning because you have to look everything up, but let's say if you do that for a year very consistently, the fruits of your labor will be there at the end. So instead of focusing on results like, I should learn this many kanji or know this many words by the end of the year, just trust the process and enjoy the journey. This approach is ultimately much more sustainable because you actually enjoy what you're doing instead of feeling guilty for not knowing enough words or something like that. By the way, if you're interested in easing into Japanese literature and reading it in the original, I've created a completely free platform called Bunsuke's newsletter. I'll put a link in the description box below. And in this newsletter, I post a passage from some literary work and include a vocabulary list and a very short and practical translation in the hopes that this will help you in your daily studies and will kind of show you that it's not that daunting to start reading Japanese literature in the original. I also use this newsletter to organize reading groups once in a while. I haven't done one in a while now, but I'll definitely do more in the future, in which we read a short work or just a short piece from a longer work, and we discuss it in the comment section of my Substack. And at the end of one of these projects, we'll have a Zoom call, a collective Zoom call, in which we not only discuss what people found difficult or which parts you found kind of challenging or maybe easy, but also we discuss it as a literary work. So we do literary interpretation as well as a kind of thorough analysis of the language. Now, this also might seem scary, but actually we have built a very collaborative community. Everybody's there to help each other and it's very constructive. So I encourage you to participate. I also have an Instagram page where I share what I read and how I read, as well as my own kind of learning journey with kanji, vocabulary, etc. So if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description below. So just check it out. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if this is the kind of content that you're interested in. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.